It was easy to see this coming, like clockwork, really, because Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell complement each other on the floor and off the floor. They complement each other on the floor as the most dangerous duo in the WNBA, the most fearsome backcourt. Clark's ability to control the game, shoot from deep, bring the defense out, dice you up with the passes, get to the cup. Kelsey Mitchell's ability to just score in microwave fashion, unstoppable, so fast, back cuts, getting up and down the floor, breaking you down off boogie moves. Together, it's essentially unstoppable. Even one or the other is unstoppable at times. So they complement each other on the floor. They also complement each other off the floor, meaning they only have good things to say about one another. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell has said in the past, Caitlin Clark changed the world. Caitlin Clark has talked about how much admiration she has for Kelsey and her game. She celebrated her during the run. MVP Kelsey t-shirts, apparently her idea, right? Like that's all part of this. So these narratives that come into play are increasingly ridiculous and increasingly, basically just fueled by nonsense. And Sue Bird had Kelsey Mitchell on her podcast. And basically, Sue talked to Kelsey about the setup for this was how difficult it is to deal with some of the narratives, because when you have a figure like Caitlin Clark who comes in, it is indeed so transformative, meaning, the entire dynamics of things can change as far as the amount of attention, what is being said. It's just yesterday is not the same as today when there is that kind of sea change. Here's what Kelsey Mitchell had to say in response, at least part.
No, that was big for everybody. Pacers Entertainment, People Organization. I felt like at that time there was a lot of, role playing that had to be, situated. I feel like, when something that big or someone that big who has that much impact comes into something, there are a lot of adjustments that people have to make on the floor, off the floor, in the locker room, in the training room. Just a lot of stuff is a lot of moving parts. And I think the biggest part that I respected about Caitlin is that she never was bigger than the program. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, it wasn't like she wasn't trying to take over. It wasn't, I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like, she knows who she is. She comes in, she's going to obviously do her part because that's what being a professional athlete is. But with the understanding of fitting into a team, making sure we fit, making sure we have chemistry. So it's never bigger than like the group
it's like
itself.
She wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody. Like within our locker room, she wasn't trying to be bigger than anyone else. And I think the way that her style of play, it ended up complimenting me, ended up complimenting AB. And so like the one thing I love about Caitlin too is that we all love basketball the same way. We all have our different styles of way of playing it, but the passion for it with Caitlin when she didn't play compared to when she did play remained the same. And like, I respected that about her because it could have easily not been that way. You have people that come in and not want to do or buy in once it's not, or once it don't go their way, or once unfortunate things happen and you can't play and injury happens and you're not getting your body the way you want to. And so I can respect the fact that she kept the program and she didn't let her passion for it waver because she ended up pouring in more than she thought. And it was dope because she could have easily not been that person.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I would build on what I was saying and add from what I'm hearing from you is like, she was like that way in the locker room too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it was like, she wasn't trying to like, you could easily be a certain way. And her thing was just like, like giving her best. Like she gave us like her best when she was in the locker room.
Yeah. The time I've spent with Caitlin, like she definitely has like, oh, you're like my little sister.
Yes.
Cause she likes to like, talk about basketball and kind of troll a little bit. Yeah,
goodness.
Exactly.
You're talking about a kid in the candy store. That's Caitlin.
Yep.
Tutu, she is, but in a good way. She's a live light.
So there you have what Kelsey Mitchell had to say about Caitlin Clark. Of course, longtime teammates at this point, relatively speaking, a couple of years into Caitlin Clark's WNBA career. Kelsey Mitchell is a free agent. I mean, that is a looming story for the Fever. So until she signs on the dotted line to return, that future remains at least part in question. You look, the entire league's future is in question when it comes to free agency for the most part. The Fever actually have more players locked up than most teams, considering Caitlin Clark is still on her deal, Aaliyah Boston is still on her deal, and Lexi Hull is a restricted free agent, meaning the Fever can match any offers. And that's the core four that I've talked about many, many times before. And the front office has made it clear that Kelsey Mitchell is their number one priority in free agency, as she should be. That was what Stephanie White talked about the other day that got the blowback. I mean, so many people missed the context of the question that was asked to her, which was about free agency and how could Kelsey Mitchell not be the number one priority in free agency. And of course, they want to continue building around Kelsey Mitchell. They want to continue building around that core. But it's unmistakable what Caitlin Clark brings when she walks in the door. You see it on the floor, right? Like you see it. It's the reason for everything else. All of the rest comes because of that. All of the rest has been built on that base or built around that. But on top of that, there is everything else. And that has to be a challenge at times. I don't think it's naive to not think it's a challenge at times where you do have people trying to create nonsense out of nothing. And if you do happen to log on social media, you might see it and you're like, what the hell? Right? Like, and all the extra attention or pressure that comes with that. But the Fever have seemingly bonded through all that. They've brought the right kind of characters into the organization and the team. What was it that Stephanie White said? The shopping cart test, though I don't know if DeWanna Bonner put hers back or not. She left before she had a chance to put it back. But nonetheless, I mean, that's why the team was able to be so resilient. I was watching Caitlin Clark's exit interview the other day, and she mentioned the friendship as a part of the foundation, as to why the next woman mentality up worked for them and how they were able to get through all these other things that happened. And then you just had Kelsey Mitchell put herself on the line, right? Like she gave it literally everything that she had. She gave it literally everything that she had, which had to be appreciated. And I mean, I think in the playoffs, she was one of the best players for the whole season. She was one of the best players of the league, first team all WNBA. So it's just all of this is ridiculous where you have Caitlin Clark, who's first team all WNBA last year, and you have Aaliyah Boston, who's second team all WNBA this year, and you have Kelsey Mitchell, who is first team all WNBA this year, and all of them like each other, and all of them fit one another's game on the floor. I mean, look, nothing's perfect. Would you like a little bit more size in the backcourt or whatever? Sure. But all the other things can be adjusted, right? All of the other things can be configured. And the thing that the Fever have that can't be made up or replicated is the complement of their all-stars. And that's why you see them complement each other when they're playing or complement each other when they're doing interviews.